Hi guys, it is April from Getting Go With It. Today I'm finally here to talk to you about books from 2018. In this video we're talking about the worst books that I read in 2018, and I actually considered not doing this video because I've gotten so much hate for certain books that I've hated. But I'm doing it anyway because I'm brave and bold and I will hate what I want to hate. So if you're interested in what I did not like in 2018, let's get into it. So I wanted to be really clear to start. I DNF'd a ton of books this year. This is not going to be talking about any of those books. These are all books that I read and I was just like, why did I do that to myself? Why? In the end, I just regretted it and did not like them. So I've got 10 here. I am going from least hated to most hated. Like number one is like, I hated that book. So I am excited. Now that I'm doing it, I'm excited. I hope that you guys it'll go a little easy on me. Again, like, just because I hated these books does not mean that you have to hate them. Like, everyone is so different and every book has a different audience. These books were not for me. Another thing I wanted to mention is I'm not going to be holding up the books because I've gotten rid of all of these books because I just did not like them. And every time I would see them on my shelves, if they were there, I'd be like, that doesn't reflect me. So coming in at number 10 is Our Kind of Cruelty. This is about a man who is stalking his ex-girlfriend. They used to be happy together and he was very controlling in her life, and they used to play this game together called The Crave, where she would go out to a bar or something and like flirt with someone else, and then he would come in and like save her from this guy. Sorry if you can hear like snoring in the background, that's Libby. Anyway, she's not going anywhere, so sorry about that. But I thought it was gonna be a lot like You by Carolyn Kepnes because it's coming from the perspective of the bad guy. And I just didn't like the bad guy in the end. I didn't enjoy his story. It wasn't horrifically written. I think I ended up giving it 3 stars. However, the word crave is used like overkill. Overkill. That said, Gillian Flynn blurbed this, loved this book. So it might just be me, but I really didn't like it. Coming in at number 9 was probably my most disappointing book of the year, and that was Unbury Carroll by Josh Malerman. Now, Bird Box still is my number 1 horror book. I didn't like the movie. Anyway, that's an aside. But I was so looking forward to a new book by Josh Malerman, but this did not have horror vibes to it. It was more of a Western about a girl named Carol, a woman named Carol, who goes into these like very deep sleeps, like comas almost. And her husband decides the next time she goes into one of those, he's going to bury her. And honestly, I was so bored reading this. I was bored. I was mad that it wasn't horror. And it was just my most disappointing book. Like, read it if you like Westerns, but that's it. Like, no. Number 8 for me is The Forgotten Garden by Kate Morton. Oh, this is a controversial one because everyone loves Kate Morton, and for many people, this is their favorite Kate Morton. I love Kate Morton. I trust Kate Morton. I don't trust her with infertility. This book pissed me off because I've dealt with infertility, and there's a character in here who deals with infertility and she is villainized. The fertile woman character in this is glorified, and and is the heroine of all of it. I just find that such a problematic trope. I wish it would stop happening in the books that I read. I don't try to pick up books that have this theme at all, actually. It was very surprising. But I did not like it. I really didn't appreciate that, and that ended up making me hate this book. I think I gave it 2 stars, and it was really sad because I was sure I was going to love it, so I kept buying new copies of it. I would go to a thrift store and find a better edition of it. So I think I had like 3 of them at the end, and then I just gave them all away because I was like, I cannot have that on my shelves. No, thank you. Number 7 is, we're getting more and more controversial, Between Shades of Grey by Ruta Sepetys. Now, first of all, everyone knows, if you're watching my channel, you know I don't like YA. I really have a hard time with YA. Like, 98% of the time I'm going to hate it. I don't know why. I just don't seem to enjoy it. But this YA was very frustrating to me. This is about a little girl and her family. They're sent to work camps during World War II. And I found that aspect of it interesting. But I really found the characters themselves very poorly developed. There were characters in here like the man who winds his watch, and he's supposed to symbolize time, and it's just like, I found it frustrating, and I can see why this is an okay for a 13-year-old child, but I'm not a 13-year-old child, and I think I deserve a lot more in my reading. So yeah, I really need to ease up on the YA. Anytime I pick up YA, I should really just DNF it if I'm not enjoying it within even 30 pages. That should be like a rule for me. Number 6 is Behind Closed Doors. This is a thriller that a lot of people adore. It's a domestic thriller a lot of people adore. And this is about a woman who's single and meets like the man that he seems like too good to be true. He's just so wonderful to her. And she is thrilled that she's met him because she has never met anyone in her life. She has a sister who is mentally handicapped. She meets this guy and he's so nice to her, and she's like, oh, this is perfect. So we kind of follow her earlier in her life when she's just meeting the man, and then we're also following her after she's like married him, she's living with him, and her friends notice that she's not allowed to pick up the phone, she's not allowed to leave her house. Like, what is going on? And I thought it was going to be a lot of fun, but I in the end, I felt like it was not realistic. Like, the woman is put in such a situation that it seems in her head that she has no choice and there is no way to get out of it, even when there are very clear moments that she could get out. And I just didn't buy it. The writing, I just did not buy the situation at all. And I'm not saying in any way, shape, or form that domestic abuse is clear cut and you can always get out. I do not think so at all. However, in this situation, I felt like there were way too many moments that she should have, and could have, I should say, gotten out of the situation. I didn't buy it. Okay, coming in at number 5 is The Time Traveler's Wife. I found this to be the most, like, pompous book I've ever read. I really do. This is about a man who time travels, like, randomly. Sometimes he can choose and sometimes he can't. And he meets a woman at many different times in her life. Sometimes it's as a child, he's meeting her, and sometimes it's later in her life. And they love each other immensely. And it is about their love story through time. And I just found the characters so pompous and arrogant. I everyone was reading Kafka. Everyone was listening to Bach. It was just way too much. Like, please, like, I just wish that there was a moment about with them, like, watching The Bachelor together or something, where there's a moment where they weren't so highbrow and, like, so mature, and I just didn't like them at all, either of them. And there, I have to say, I did cry at the very end. I did cry, but it was more torture than enjoyable for me. So yeah, I don't recommend The Time Traveler's Wife if you like down-to-earth characters. Oh my god, no. Number 4 is The House Swap by Rebecca Fleet. I barely remember this book. This is about a couple who aren't doing well in their relationship at all, and they swap houses. They literally go and swap houses with another couple, and then the woman in the relationship starts seeing things here and there that remind her of a certain time in her life. And she's like, does the owner who owns this house like seem to know me somehow? And that's why this is all here. She's just feeling it's very suspicious. And I was just let down over and over again by this book. I wasn't shocked. There was no twists or turns that I thought was worth it. And it's so hard with thrillers because sometimes they're really worth it and they're so amazing in the end, but not all the time. And this was one of them that I just should have DNF'd. Number 3 on the list, and I'm ready for all of the hate in the comments below, Ready Player One. To me, this was incredibly sexist. And I know that pisses a lot of people off, but I did not like this at all. I found it such a male mind writing this. Like, this was so masculine in a bad way for me. This was about like a dystopian world where everyone is plugged into the Oasis, and that's kind of how they live their lives now. And the man who invented the Oasis dies, and he leaves a little Easter egg in the Oasis, and whoever can find the egg wins all of his money. And we're following a group of people who are trying to find the egg. Now, this wasn't boring in any way, shape, or form. I did enjoy finding out what was going to happen next, but I found it really cliche. Like, it was so, like, cheesy to the next degree. Like, it was so cheesy, and I found it sexist, so I didn't like it. Number 2 is Blood Orange. I'm sorry to say. This one was about a lawyer who takes on her first murder case, and the murder case is this woman that she is defending who apparently stabbed her husband multiple times and left him to die. And she's defending this woman. In her personal life, she is like not looking good in her personal life. She is married with a kid. Everything seems good, but she's also cheating on her husband with her law partner. So I just felt, as I was reading this, I was like, my God, I would hope that my lawyer would have her shit together more. It never seemed like she was ever working on her case. And the book, I thought, was going to be about the case more, and it was really about the lawyer and her personal life and things going to hell in her personal life. And I just thought, man, yeah, like I thought that as a lawyer, you'd work on the cases that you have, especially your first murder case. Wouldn't you completely dive into that and try to prove yourself? But no, not our character. She wasn't like that. And I was not thrilled by any of the twists and turns. The final twist in the end, I was like, like, just didn't care. Okay, the number 1 most hated book from me in 2018 was Behind Her Eyes by Sarah Pinborough. I hate this book. This is about a woman who's a single mom, and she meets a man in a club. and they kiss, and the next day she finds out it's her boss, which is really uncomfortable, especially when she finds out that her boss is married and she just like kissed this guy. She ends up having a friendly relationship with the wife and continues seeing her boss, which annoyed me. First of all, I just thought that was really in poor taste. Like, why wouldn't you, if you're going to have an affair with a married man, don't go ahead and like be friends with the wife. So that all annoyed me. Very domestic thriller-esque. And the whole reason about reading this is that everyone talks about the end. The huge twist in the end is so amazing. And it is a huge twist in the end. And I've never felt more cheated by an author than in this book. In a thriller, when you're reading a thriller, part of the joy of reading a thriller as a reader is getting to try to solve it for yourself. It's so much fun to do that. And if you can do it and can still enjoy the writing style, that's amazing. It's really fun when you're blindsided too. But in this case, there was no chance of guessing it. And that made me really mad. And it has landed this book, in the worst book that I have read in 2018. I know a lot of people like it though, so I'm ready for the hate. But yeah, so those are them, guys. Let me know in the comments below, what is the worst book you read in 2018? I want to know. Maybe you can save me from reading a really crappy book. I would love to know. And I will talk to you guys next time. Okay, bye.